When faced with overwhelming fear and uncertainty, finding refuge in what we love and staying grounded in the present can give us the strength to navigate even the most traumatic circumstances and keep hope alive. I'm Sally Ann Airy, and welcome to Fearless Forward, the podcast that asks leaders how they face their fears. Today I'm in conversation with a remarkable young woman who at just 19 years of age has already lived through more fear, uncertainty and upheaval than most of us experience in a lifetime. Liia Dmytrenko is one of the millions of victims of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and of the ensuing war, now in its 5th year. Liia's story begins in Kyiv, where her mother was a leading ballerina at the National Opera of Ukraine in Kyiv and later became the stage director. Liia was set to follow in her mother's footsteps. She attended the Kyiv State Choreographic College, one of the best ballet schools in the former Soviet Union. Then the Russian invasion happened. Kyiv came under attack, and her whole world changed. First, Liia and her family escaped to Western Ukraine. Then, 3 months into the war, with her mother she made her way to the UK. She joined a top school in her GCSE year, with barely any English. Meanwhile, her mother returned to Kyiv to support the war effort. Liia began sketching scenes of Kyiv from memory. She began an A-level course in art and passed with an A-star grade in just 1 year. Photographs she took during short trips to Kyiv, capturing her observations of the war, became the subject of a school exhibition, where people were invited to imagine their reactions to actually being there. The exhibition became the subject of an ITV television feature. Today, Liia's in the 2nd year of a graphic design course at Oxford Brookes University. In our conversation, we explore how Liia's experienced and processed the trauma of war, the displacement, and cataclysmic change, how she's reimagined her identity beyond ballet, what it's like to make a completely new life in a different language and culture, and how she now channels her story into creative work. So, Liia, 4 years ago, when you were just 16, Russia launched a full-scale invasion on Ukraine. You were in Kyiv at the time. Tell us what was happening for you. What was going through your mind on that day?
I remember, I would say, as majority of Ukrainians I met, beginning of war in my bed. It was really early in the morning, and I woke up because of an explosion. At the beginning, I didn't realize it was a war. I thought it was a fireworks, so I went to bed. My parents didn't wake up, and then my friend woke up me. She called me, and her father was military, and she told me it's war. Literally one sentence. I remember I wasn't shocked, but also it wasn't obviously a normal day. I felt like I was frozen inside. So I stayed in Kyiv for 1 week after war started. And for all of that time, for me, now I feel it like fever dream, because I didn't get enough sleep. It was really surreal to stop everything what I've done before and try to survive, literally. But I remember that week quite clearly. I remember probably the biggest realization that I had at that time. It was that except my phone, I don't need anything. I was standing in the middle of my room, looking at everything around me, and I thought everything, all my life, is in those books, I don't know, in those paintings on my wall, but I didn't need it. I just needed my phone where I had documents, money, possibility to call my friends and family. And it felt like all my life literally stopped at that time.
All your life stopped.
Yeah.
Did you feel as if you were putting everything on hold?
I remember I didn't know I would put everything on hold. We didn't know what's happening tomorrow. And that uncertainty was, I think, the main feeling that I experienced. And because of that, I didn't think about future at all. Before that, I used to dance all my life, and I thought I would be a ballerina at some point. But after war started, I didn't think about that at all for, I would say, whole that week that I stayed in Kyiv.
Yeah. As you just said, you were in survival mode. And
Yeah.
interesting that in that sense of survival, the one thing that felt indispensable to you in that moment was your phone, because everything that you needed was available on it, so to speak. Interesting.
Everything that I done in my life before that, it wasn't a lot, but I had some things that I liked, some objects, all that materiality around me. And when war started, I felt like it's nothing, it's dust. Like
Yeah.
everything that is matters, it's life. And
Yes.
my life of my parents, of my friends, of other relatives, that's all.
Yes. And communicating with them through the vehicle of your phone and all of the information on it that enables you to do that. There's an aliveness to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, if I may, when you looked at all the things in your room, if there was one object you might have taken with you, can you identify that?
Except my phone, I don't think. I remember I was looking around and I saw like only warm clothes because it was winter, obviously, and it was February, and it was quite disappointing actually to understand, to realize that I don't have anything that I would treasure that much.
Interesting. Disappointing, the sense that you would have liked to have had something.
Probably, yeah. To be fair, I don't think anyone else from my friends, my age, they experienced something like that. Because when I asked them, they said they didn't care about that. I was caring about my home, my life in like objects.
So, Liia, there you are standing in your room, looking around at all of these possessions that, you've grown up with, and realizing that in the end, none of them really mattered.
Yeah. I remember my parents woke up at approximately same time as me because I woke up them after my friend called me. And I remember they were like running around our flat trying to collect our documents because everyone, I would say, we were not prepared for that. We heard some news and like people said that war might start tomorrow or next week or next month, but no one was like prepared for that. I don't think we believed in that war can start.
Liia, from where I was sitting at the time, I don't think any of us did.
Yeah.
It was a shock.
And they were trying to collect everything, but I was lost with that idea of like, I don't need anything. And
interesting.
I remember when we left our flat, that was first time I heard siren. And I felt like I was in a film or something like that. It was really unreal. Where now, when I'm going back to Ukraine to see my parents and my friends, usually when I hear siren, it's some kind of normal thing for me.
Yes.
It's
Somehow
really
it's become
interesting.
normalized. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
From the shock of first hearing it, feeling that you were in a movie, that's what happens in movies. It doesn't happen in real life. And there it was in real life. And now it has become, sadly, I suppose, normalized.
yeah.
So going back to Kyiv. So as we've already said, as I said in the introduction to this conversation, you are now in the UK. So what brought you here, Liia? Why the UK?
So I think I need to give a bit more context about my life before war.
Okay.
I used to dance all my life, as I said, and to be clear, when war started, I had some ideas in my mind that probably ballet it's not what suits me really well. I didn't feel like I have enough possibilities in it because of how tall I am. I am quite tall person, and if you are aware of post-Soviet and Soviet ballet system, it's really strict, and I felt like I can't change my height. like, oh, so from that time, I started thinking it's much more difficult for me to train compared to people whose physique is a bit more suitable for ballet. And where war started, as I said, for a week when I was in Kiev, I didn't think about that, about ballet at all. Only question I had is like at the beginning again, when I was standing in my flat, and my mom tried to figure out if she needs to go to work that day. And I was trying to figure out if I need to go to school that day.
Well,
Um,
practical questions, indeed, I can
yeah,
understand that. Yeah.
yeah, but then after that week in Kiev, we managed to get space in a train. I think you are aware of how they were filled with people and the train station were just overflowed.
Yes.
I remember my parents were standing in a corridor. Me and my friend, her family was coming with us. We both were sleeping in a sitting position, I would say. We managed to get a seat, but then we found some friends who were living in near Lviv, in a city called Sambir. They asked us if we want to stay there because they had second floor, which was in a house which was completely abandoned. Basically, it was fully empty, and no one lived there for I think decades.
Oh, gosh.
And we were happy to be anywhere but safer, so we went there. And from that point, I stayed there before I came to UK. My family, my mom and my father and me, we stayed there for 2 months, I think. So,
Yes.
and literally, I remember I had so many different options to go to different countries because I used to dance. Again, and my mom is a ballet dancer, and she knew some people who were studying or teaching in other ballet schools in Europe. And I think I had some offers from Lithuania, from Italy, I think, as well. But it was all connected to ballet. And because I realized, I think it's war what's changed my point of view on that situation. I thought that's the time I want to stop doing it.
Gosh.
I want to do something new. So I literally wanted to start my life from new page, and only offer from school college which I received, and it wasn't connected to ballet in any way. It was from Brighton College in the UK. So
Yes.
that's why I choose to go to England, basically.
So this is huge, isn't it? You know, war is let's face it, a life-changing experience in any event, and it's changed the course of your life. And I'm wondering, how did your mother feel about that? In that I imagine she pictured you perhaps as the ballerina of the future. I mean, I'm just imagining. How did she feel about that?
I would say those thoughts about like quitting ballet, I had for probably 1-2 years before war started, but I am that person who tries to not like disappoint parents. That's probably the way how I care about them. And I was really worrying that my mom would be upset that I would leave ballet. And now I can say that it wasn't like that at all. Like, my mom just wanted me to be happy, and she thought I am happy in ballet. But at that time I thought, if I say today I want to leave, she would be really, really upset and probably angry at me. So but when war started, it really changed my mind. Like, I think everything that we experience, we understand in comparison. And after I experience all the I want to call it fear, but I don't think I experienced fear for all the time. It was more like a flashes of fear. I would say that uncertainty and impact of being in just one moment, try to not think about future, because I thought I might be killed, or my family might be killed, and like...
Yes, so moments of intense fear where you would bring yourself back to the present moment.
Yeah.
And not allow your mind to contemplate the scary uncertainties and possibilities of the future, what might happen, what might or might not happen. That you would, and I'm also hearing that this experience of war, this event of war, concentrated your mind on what really mattered. So the thoughts that you'd had about how your mother might respond, your fears perhaps around disappointing her, and so on, somehow disappeared, or at least were quietened enough for you to speak your mind, say what you really wanted. And it turned out, actually that's all she ever wanted for you anyway.
I think my fear at that week in Kyiv, it evolved in some kind of numbness. And when I was thinking about leaving ballet, I knew I would be okay. Like, I would be okay if my mother would be disappointed, and I don't know, she would be angry, or I was prepared for any reaction, because I think my mind was busy surviving. And I just didn't have enough space to think about something else. But I was lucky. My mom, she said, like, I knew you wanted to leave. I just waited when you would say me that. And because of that, we both decided that I will try and apply for a visa for Homes for Ukraine scheme in the UK. And it was really tiring process to get a visa, because my passport I was 16, and it's usually is the time to change passport for adult one. Because of that, the timings went quite wrong, and we end up waiting for visa for 2 months. Scheme for Ukraine, which UK government gave us, it's connected to being in a host family. And I was really lucky to get amazing host family that supported us through all that 2 month waiting. We didn't know those people. We had a couple of calls with them, and my mom was worrying, but I felt like everything would be okay. I think I hoped for that, and it's actually happened. Now I'm here. I'm studying at university, and my amazing host family supports me. My mom is really glad I'm in a safe place.
Yes.
Besides that, she is in Ukraine at the moment. And kind of when I went through all of those things at the beginning of war, those horrible uncertainty, fear, and probably I stopped believing in people because of war. Yeah, because it felt like betray, but in some kind of other level. Like, I would not call Russia our friends, or people like to call Ukraine and Russia like siblings. I would never do that, because history of Ukraine shows that it's not like that at all. But it was some kind of feeling of betray, of I don't know from who I was betrayed by fate, maybe, or I don't know, but
the sense I'm hearing that the life you imagined, with or without ballet, is not what happened.
Yeah.
Almost a sense of betrayal, of a sense of loss, and at the hands of an invader who claims to be a friend.
Yeah.
I think that might be quite a good definition of betrayal, actually. I think you've found a very powerful and perhaps also very clear expression of your feeling. And then I suppose the challenge is, when you feel that deep sense of betrayal at a very deep level, how not then to transfer it, to other people? How to then regain faith in human nature, that there are people you can trust, that not everyone's going to betray you, that you can believe what people say. And I'm thinking of your host family because Matt Dean is a dear friend. I haven't met his wife, Victoria, but I've heard a lot about her. And so I know them to be very good people. And those are your host family. So let's, if I may, Liia, let's take you forward into arriving in the UK. And many of us know of this. I know many, many people who have also hosted people like yourself coming over from Ukraine, seeking refuge and safety and a new life. So a lot of people are aware of this, but let's hear it from your perspective, because one thing that was particularly challenging, I imagine, is that you didn't speak English. You didn't have the language. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. When I came to England and met my host family, I remember I wasn't nervous about that at all. I felt when we crossed the border with Europe and then with UK, I felt safe. I felt like nothing scarier than war can happen, and that's probably true. And that me and my mom, we both in safe place, and we can try and live a bit longer.
Yeah.
And So in my ballet college, when I used to study in Ukraine, instead of international language English that usually is taught in schools, I had French because it's like roots of ballet, names for
Yeah.
extras for different movements, and the rest. So when I came, and my French wasn't good, like as well. I wasn't a person who really liked languages. And when I came to England, I needed to speak English. And except alphabet and some easy words like an apple, I didn't know anything. And that period of time for first 2 year, first 1.5 year, I would say, when I was even stressed to ask some water if I was like sitting, having lunch with someone and I want some water. I didn't know how to ask it. And I was really like stressed to talk. So I decided to not. So I was studying in school, obviously. That's why I came to UK, and I had amazing tutors who helped me to learn English quite quickly. So in 2 years' time, I reached B1 level. Is quite
Yes.
good, I think.
No, it's a very good level. I mean, from a starting point of practically zero to that level in 2 years is impressive. Yes.
And I decided that I would rather not leave any impression about me in people around me, for people around me, rather than they would have an impression of a bit strange person who cannot express themselves. So
Okay, so you decided to stay quiet a lot of the time. Is that what I'm hearing?
yes,
All
and
right.
my personality is that I'm really talkative in general.
So that must have been hard.
And I was an extrovert all my life. I was really, and still I like people. I like being with them, being in teams, working teams. I like doing that. But when I lost ability to talk, I consciously decided to leave that personality behind. And I don't think it was wrong, but it's also, it taught me quite a lot. So now I know how to stay quiet when I need to. But it really, it was really difficult for me. I think in because I had PTSD and I had this condition of like not be able to express myself, I kind of closed, if you know what I mean.
I think I know what you mean. Shut down a bit.
Yeah.
Withdrew, so to speak. Leaving the extrovert side of yourself behind. I'm wondering if, in the end, on reflection, what happened was you put her on pause for a bit. Do you feel that some of that part of you has kind of rebirthed in some way since then?
I think, again, my mom, she left UK after 2 months being here because there were a couple of reasons. Like, main one, because my father was in Ukraine and she really missed him. And also, the theater started working, so she needed to go back to work. And I imagine how difficult it was for her to leave her child with quite unknown people. But it was like we were really lucky to meet family in other country, in almost other parts of world, and their qualities were quite similar to our family. That's why I think when I stayed in the UK without ability to talk and like to ability to understand, I felt safe in my host family.
Yeah, so something
And
about their human qualities, the type of people you are with the qualities that you recognized as safe and reassuring, comforting, supportive.
yeah,
That's what mattered. The language would come, and it has come, hasn't it? We're having this conversation. You're speaking really well. So that came later. What mattered at the time, though, was the sense that you were with the right people.
yeah. And because of that, I still have had some people in real life who I can try and talk to. Doesn't matter how bad my English was, they understood me. I used translator at the beginning quite a lot, but then I stopped. I started trying to describe quite easy words by using other easy words, but it worked. And at the end, I would say I think majority of English that I learned was from them, not from teachers. They helped me to learn academic language, but the actual like strengths to talk, I think I gained it from my host family.
Yes, I can well imagine, because we learn through practice, don't we? We learn through making mistakes. In the end, it's about communicating. So however you do that, doesn't really matter, as long as you get your message across, and that evolves over time, doesn't it? I know this myself from living in countries other than the UK and learning foreign languages and trying to get myself understood. So I have personal experience of that. So I can relate to what you're saying, for sure. But what mattered was you arrived from this horrendous trauma. As you say, you were suffering from PTSD. You arrived in a country without speaking the native language. You've developed a strategy for getting by, and you're coming through that. And along the way, a lot of interesting things have happened, haven't they? So you have discovered a talent. Tell us about your talent.
So one more thing that I did whole my life, it was art, drawing, painting, crafting, sewing. And when I used to do ballet, I didn't have enough time for that. It always was some minor hobby at the back of my mind. But after I came to UK and I lost ability to speak, I realized that I can express myself through other ways. One of them was art. I started doing art A-level because I felt that it also was something familiar. I don't think it would be surprising to say that majority of subjects, not because of language, but because of system of teaching, they're different in different countries. So, but art was quite similar. And because of that, like, it's about, after all, it's about expressing idea or point of view. And I started doing art A level because actually it's interesting story how I ended up doing it, because when I came I did biology, chemistry, physics, math, and English. So it's really kind of polar subject.
Quite. I mean, and those are not necessarily the easiest subjects, are they, unless you have a talent for them. So you started off doing that and you gravitated towards art, which offered you the opportunity to take what had been a bit of a hobby into something a lot bigger.
I started doing art A level because one of my teachers, on a break, I was sitting and drawing one of the landscapes from Ukraine from my memory. And she was passing by and she was teacher of photography. And she like turned back and like, wow, that's really beautiful. And she asked if I want to come and show this drawing to art teacher. And that was the way how I end up doing art A level.
How fantastic. How wonderful that you were doing something from your heart. You know, you had a piece of paper and a pencil, whatever you were using, and you just started drawing what was in your mind, what was in your heart. And through that, just simply like showing up and doing it and pouring your heart out onto the paper, somebody saw its quality, saw its talent. Beautiful. So there you are, you did art A level and you did it in 1 year and you had an excellent, exceptional result. And then you went to college from there, or what happened?
So after that, I decided to try myself in graphic design because I was, and I am, impressed by art that we see every day, not actually thinking that it's art. Like piece of packaging or a font that we see somewhere. I really wanted to do something that people will see and they will use it. I like useful things. And I thought graphic design, that is something that combines my passion about art and my willingness to make something useful.
Okay. How did that go?
Now I'm second year student at Oxford Brookes University on graphic design, and I really like it. I am happy with what I choose, and I still doing like paintings, and I actually do photography, and I had a photography exhibition.
Yes.
And I would like to carry on that. But also now I have a job that I adore.
Fantastic.
So
a real opening up, Liia, is what I'm hearing here, and I didn't ask you when you were talking about that phase where you felt you had to withdraw. I didn't ask you then, but I'd like to ask you now, between how you felt then and how you feel now, is there a sense of the fear that we all carry in our lives, but for you was a particular fear because of the circumstances you'd experienced? Is there a sense of that fear changing, disappearing even, or quietening? Can you tell us a bit more about that, in terms of how you responded to it initially, how you're responding to it now?
I think in a way it was easier when I was frightened in Ukraine and in UK. It was, now I feel like I'm living double lives. On the one side, I am just normal student at university. I'm worrying about job, about friends, about I'm going to parties. I don't know, just live my normal life. Where on the other side, each morning when I wake up and I call my mom and she's not answering, I don't know if she's dead or she's just busy. And because of that, also when I go back to Ukraine, like I'm visiting my family and friends, which I've done, for example, this summer, I experience completely different life. For example, this summer, I was staying in my flat, and at night, one of the drones landed literally outside of my window, and it's like, and then I returned to UK when I have my course to do, when I have my friends, again, other friends. I have
Yes.
I have just normal life, and I separate them, but at the same time I cannot do that. And the fear is really like leaking through that connection in one to the other.
Yes. Because I suppose while they do appear to be two separate lives, and indeed it's easy to explain and to understand why they are effectively two separate lives, in the end it's your life, isn't it? In the end it's all one. In the end you're holding both somehow. It's a lot to hold. So how do you do that? When you're here in UK, you call your mum, you hope she answers. If she doesn't, there's a moment of concern, at the very least, fear, terror, whatever, until you speak to her, and then it's okay. And then you go about your day. How do you, as you go through your day, how do you find yourself holding both of these as one, so to speak?
I think I really find safe place in what I like to do. I like drawing, I like painting, I like doing graphic design, thinking about ideas. I like reading. Sometimes I write short stories, and I think somehow I can hide in it and put myself together before I need to face some problem or
Yes.
something difficult. I think art really saves me.
Yes, it's like it grounds you, like a refuge, safe space, as you said, safe place. Taking refuge in what you love, finding a sense of safety there. And I suppose it sounds as if it's giving you then the courage to turn back towards the very difficult life in Kyiv. Turn back towards it and find a way of being with that too. So important to have that refuge, that safety, that thing that you love.
Yeah.
Giving you the stability. Yeah.
I think that's really right expression to call it refuge.
Yeah.
It's, I know that my family, who is in Ukraine, they experience really difficult situations. And recently, my uncle, who was military, he died on his job.
I'm sorry.
And I wasn't close with him, but our family is quite small, and I realized that for my grandmother, I might be the support. And I think I literally dragged the inspiration, the all positive emotions that I experienced while doing something that I like, and I try to transfer it towards my family because I felt like I can do it. I have that possibility, and I believe I helped them, at least in some way.
I'm sure you do. And I think the trick here, or the important thing here, Liia, is to continue to resource yourself through this so that when you give back, you do it from a place of resourcefulness, that you're not draining your own energy in doing that, so that you can continue to give from a safe space. And it sounds as if the choices that you're making in your life by following your passion and your love and your creativity, giving it the space, is what's fueling you to be able to give back to the people who need you. I think in that sense, Liia, it's a lesson for us all. And I wonder, when you look at where you are now, when you look at what's happening in your homeland, with all of the uncertainty, unpredictability of that, what does fearless forward mean to you?
I want to say believe.
Mm.
Believe in future, in that situation, even that looks awful, looks like life falling apart. It will resolve if you believe. And to go through fear, to accept it, and then to find in it something that can be a force, is what I think Fearless Forward mean to me.
Liia, that was beautiful. And thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you.
When Liia's whole world turned upside down, she realized that the only thing that really mattered was life itself and staying connected to friends and family. And she was also able to overcome her fear of disappointing her mother and express her true feelings about a future in ballet. What had previously felt huge no longer did. She realized that whatever her mother's reaction, she'd be okay, and she was. Food for thought, isn't it? For any of us living with someone else's plan or investing in a story we no longer believe. Liia's move to the UK deprived her of her voice. She chose to stay silent and internalize her trauma rather than struggle to express herself verbally. Instead, she found a path to expression through art. Because when you hit an apparently insurmountable block, there's always a way through if you're open to finding it. Now, Liia's reality is the double life she feels herself living. Lectures, parties, and safety in Oxford, danger, fear, and drones exploding outside her window in Kyiv. And the fear she experiences leaking through from one to the other, she's finding a way to accept and deal with. She cannot escape the fear. Instead, she chooses to believe in the future. Thank you for listening. Fearless Forward is edited and produced by Mark Steadman. I'll be back with you in 2 weeks for our next conversation about how leaders have faced their fears. To be sure of catching it, go to fearlessforward.org or subscribe to my weekly bulletin at skillfulleaders.com.